Here is how much the healthcare law will cost you. Look at Fox out of The Sopranos. Today we are hearing the reports of a roundup of more than 100 mobsters.
Stories like those that give people hope all across the
so
country.
true.
Someday, one day.
Can you imagine taking your child to the hospital with a fever and not bringing that child home?
Agreed.
Someone in a nurse's uniform. So as they say, the police are still trying to figure out exactly what happened and who to prosecute in that story. But
in the meantime, 26 minutes.
To these 2012 races. I mean, you got to prove that you've been able to cut spending if you want to get reelected.
Talking about that, Sal Russo is a Tea Party member coming up in a moment here. There's a major article out yesterday about significant cuts, tens of billions of dollars right now. We'll see whether or not he agrees on that.
That's right.
And then you got it? Round two today at 4 o'clock Eastern Time.
You know, I want to meet the staffer who's, they said, okay, now you're going to bring this picture. You're going to stand behind the Congresswoman while Neil Cavuto interviews her. Just keep holding the picture straight.
Hold as still as possible.
All right. Well, that was interesting. And in the meantime, the U.S. government, as we've been saying, needs to cut spending. Everybody seems to agree on that on both sides of the aisle. But then the question is this. What exactly do you cut? What about, as has been suggested, the Commerce Department? How many people work in the Commerce Department, and what do they actually do? Some people have suggested that might be worth looking at. That's coming up.
Also, you bet, Martha.
Well, yesterday we talked about the plan to repeal and the vote on repeal. But now what we have coming forward is Republicans who are talking about what their plan is to replace the health care law. For a long time, they said they had no plan to replace it. Now we're going to start seeing it. We're going to ask GOP House newcomer Kristi Noem what she thinks.
'Cause I've got a golden ticket. I've got a golden chance to make my
folks turn out for that one.
I'll charge people $150 just to come to my living room. I'll serve them pizza. We can sit on the couch. We have a big screen TV. Well, it's not that big a screen TV, but it's pretty big.
I think there's face value for the Super Bowl.
That's a lot of money.
What an event.
I like watching it on TV.
Yeah,
I know. Bill says it's the event you must see in your lifetime up close. So maybe next year. Next year in New York, I'm going to go. All right. So how about this? A potentially awkward moment at the White House during President Obama's joint news conference with Chinese President Hu Jintao. As if there weren't enough potentially awkward moments in that one. President Obama was then asked about reports that his ambassador to China, John Huntsman Jr., the former Republican governor of Utah, might be considering running against him in 2012. Listen to our president.
Excellent. I thought the Salai is going to walk out right there. I thought that was our Saturday Night Live
Hopefully
moment.
we're done with them. Hopefully we're done with that.
Perhaps. All right. 4 minutes now before the hour. There's breaking news here now. Listen, we have not seen that in some time.
And you need to see that for month after month after month before you start to see a true job, adding jobs kind of recovery, which is not what we're seeing right now. But
in the meantime, there are new developments.
See how much it costs.
On the healthcare law. FoxNews.com/America's Newsroom right now.
As we mentioned when we were due, I remember where I was when we started watching those lights flying over the city of Baghdad. And I'm struck when you see the former president, George W.H. Bush, talking about, the meaning for him. He's spoken about this so many times when you send young men and women into battle and how that's the most significant decision that a president ever has to make. And you could feel the weight of it in those statements that he made. And interesting to see it all these years later.
I didn't go to bed for 2 nights.
No, who could?
Watched the whole thing. What a time. 19 minutes now before the hour. We remember that today.
We sure do. And this story is coming up. It is an unbelievable case. He stowed away in the wheel, decided he wanted to make that trip in the wheel well of this plane. So obviously there's a lot going on there.
There were family
Tragically,
issues.
he fell out in Milton, Massachusetts. His body was found.
Many folks had thought it would be greater. Perhaps as many as 15, but that did not happen.
10 of them voted against the original bill in the first place. So 7 of those people did not vote to repeal it, though.
So now we know the numbers, and now we wonder what is next.